against St. Lawrence. That game turns around for you middle of the third period. How did you feel like it was going up until that point? I know you got behind early, but before McDaniels tied it.
Yeah, I think we wanted to play a lot better, to be honest. It's playoff hockey is tight and back and forth, and our games with St. Lawrence have been really tight both times before we played them. So, leading into that, yeah, it just felt like, they had a really big press in the second, and we didn't have a great response to it, but felt like in the third we did. Once we had that intermission. Thought we had a better third period and made a couple line switches that, potentially helped. So that kind of gave us some juice, and Gel did a great job there to get that puck and put it right to net. And yeah, it was huge. I mean, really clutch goal. Obviously needed it to tie the game there. And then in overtime, it's probably some of our best hockey. We played really, really well from there on. So a lot of good stretches and, would like to put a better 60 together Friday here.
Yeah, what were the line changes that you had that you felt
Yeah,
made a difference?
we just flipped two of our left wings for the third period. So McDaniels and Hammond flipped for the third and then
Okay.
overtime as well. And yeah, both played really well. And sometimes it's just to shake it up a little bit. At this point, like our forwards are going, but if you can kind of have a combination that lights a spark, that can be helpful. So that's what we did there. And obviously Jell getting the goal was huge.
Yeah, last time we spoke, you had kind of indicated that like that line, the McDaniels, Lucia, and McSweeney was rolling and just don't touch it. So was it kind of a desperation that you're in this spot, you got to do something to flip a switch that made you make the move?
Yeah, we made another switch the Colgate Cornell weekend for those guys haven't played together since then. So the second half it's you want to have consistency and we've had I'd say some pretty consistent lines, but there are going to be switches here and there just to kind of get different combinations going and I think really whatever our forward lines have been, we've gotten a lot out of that group and whatever's kind of working, we'll make sure we go with it and obviously want to score some goals. And typically when we get to three, like we did on Saturday, that's usually a good sign for us.
What can you say at this point about Ainsley Tuffy's performance this year? I know she was instrumental for you in the Bean Pot, has been terrific all season. Gets you to this point with another playoff caliber performance.
Yeah, she's been incredible. Just especially the second half. She's very athletic. She anticipates well. She seems like, big save after big save from her. So, knew the playoffs would be no different. She's up for the task, very reliable. And honestly, in that St. Lawrence game, if, watching it back, it was probably early that we needed her most, where she made some big saves, to keep it scoreless or to keep it tight. And she's done that all semester long. So it's great to have her back there. And obviously we want to defend well in front of her too.
Want to kind of look big picture for you guys this year. What does it mean to you as a coach to look back at the body of work so far and go from two wins a year ago to 15 wins, a Beanpot title, and a quarterfinal berth?
It's huge. You mentioned a few of them. We've done a lot of things that haven't been done in this program for a long time. Whether it's hosting the opening round, winning the opening round hadn't been done in 6 or 7 years. So it feels like that list is pretty long, and that's great. I am obviously very proud of our group. This has been a really special team that I think wants to play as much hockey as possible, and then at the same time, it's exactly what we expected too. Rebuilds take some time, but I think this is sort of an inflection point for us here, year three, to make some huge strides, and some of them have come in the form of results, and there's also just been huge strides taken in the way we play, the confidence we have against any team, and like I said, just want to play as long as we possibly can because this has been a really fun group.
Do you have whether it's a game or a stretch this year that you would say is the defining moment or stretch of your season if you had to look back on it?
Our trip to Belfast changed our team. It was a really it was a fantastic trip. It was just something you don't get to do very often and really special time together. And I just think it really kind of springboarded us into the second half. And we've I guess I don't even know what our record is since then, just above 500, I think. But some huge wins, like you said, we beat Duluth. They were number 5 at the time. We played in the title game in Belfast. We beat BC in the Bean Pot, won the Bean Pot against BU, beat Cornell on the road, beat Princeton here, obviously at home, both top 10, 12 teams at the time. And obviously a playoff win too. So just a ton of great wins, a lot of tight games. I think our team is really battle tested, but to me that it does kind of go back to that Belfast trip. I think that it really galvanized our team, and been playing really good hockey since. And when we haven't had our best games, we've still been finding ways to win. I think that's a hallmark of a good team as well.
Talk about your young team. Last time we spoke, I think you had the highest undergrad point percentage in the ECAC. Phil, I apologize. I haven't read your notes yet to see if that's still the case. Number two. Um, so I'll update that on my end. But I wanted to center on Morgan, and your thoughts on how she has performed this year in her first year on campus, obviously making all rookie team.
Yeah, she's just been such a huge part of what we're doing. Obviously, we've taken huge steps forward, and so much of that has to do with the way our returners came back and all the work they've done. And then it's also been our first year group really pushing us forward. So for her, she has a great stat line. I think there's so much more to her game than that. The grit, the tenacity. I mean, she's always hunting on the forecheck. I don't know if there's many players in our league who hunt down the puck like she does, and I just think her work ethic is unmatched, and in the face-off dot, she's really helped us be a lot better there. She took twice as many draws as anyone else on Saturday. She was 14-5, and it's a pretty good stat line in the dot. So that obviously helps us come up with pucks. She's helping us drive possession, and obviously development is extremely important too. We want to help her get better and better, but I think it's been a really good start for her.
Um, you look back at the last meeting with Princeton. The first one was close as well, but you had to come back two times in that game. What did you learn from that performance to not only get the win against them on home ice, but also to do it the way you did, having to come back a couple of times against that team?
That was huge for us, really, to get that experience at that time, a couple weeks ago now, but late in the season. And, huge anytime you can win, but especially coming from behind. And that was a great game. I mean, it's just really good speed to it, great pace. Princeton plays fast and pushed us to play fast too. And yeah, it was a track meet, tons of chances both ways. Obviously, we want to keep creating. We want to dial in a little bit and try to limit their grade A's as much as we can. But just such a fun game, and I think gave us huge confidence to come back. And then, we also got a late goal there from Ella Lucia, which put us 5-on-6 for the last couple minutes of the game, and thought we defended that well, had some huge blocks, some really gritty plays at the end. So that was an identity win for us for sure, a huge step forward in terms of the character side and how we want to play, and probably one of my favorite games of the year so far. So just want to what we did there was really competed, and that's what we want to make sure we do this weekend too.
Yeah, I guess I had a couple of follow-ups on that. You said that they pushed you to play fast. I hear so many coaches talk about how you don't want to be pushed into a different style or into the other team's style, but did you feel that that was a positive that they pressured you to play at speed?
I think so. You're always learning things, whether it's practice games, anybody you play against you're you can learn from. And I think for us, yeah, they playing fast is with your feet and with your puck movement, and I think it's something they do well. And games that tend to be faster, I think we've played better. It forces us to be simple, not overdo things and make hard plays. And so yeah, I think that was good for us, and obviously that's something you want to establish yourself as well. But I think it's certainly been the theme in those two games against Princeton that they'll be fast. I think we'll expect that this weekend too. And I think obviously we want to be ready for it, and I think as much as we can use it to our advantage too.
I just a couple more for you. One of them is another follow-up on this last Princeton game. Did you as a group take any pride satisfaction in the magnitude of that game for Princeton at the time that you won it because they had a chance to clinch the ECAC regular season title with that win? Do you treat that like a playoff game for you or no?
I I I honestly didn't know they could clinch then. That's where you just got to focus on yourself, and at that time for us, it was really controlling what we could. We were in a battle with St. Lawrence for home ice, and obviously couldn't control what St. Lawrence did, and we were really focused on ourselves. So, yeah, to be completely honest, I didn't know that. Obviously, at that time of year, every point matters, and obviously they had been at the top of the league for a while. But for us, it's just trying to put together the best games we can and take as many points as possible. And it ended up being pretty huge for us that we were able to take 3 points there.
Last two for you. One is on the nature of your team to come back and win games late. I've got Phil's notes up with 6 wins in crunch time, last 5 minutes of the third, or overtime. What's the secret behind that for your group? And I've heard some coaches talk about that's a bad thing. Would rather play 60 full minutes than be coming back all the time. So would love your perspective on that.
I mean, I think that's always the case, right? You want to play a good 60-minute game. For us, handful of those have been tied and it's been the go-ahead goal, like the Princeton game there. And ultimately, I think it has a lot to do with really trying to stay focused on the process and just keep going, wear teams down where we can, string things together, take smart changes, have short shifts. And honestly, we weren't saying this a year ago. We've become a much better team late in games and in games in general, and certainly 3-on-3 overtime got a lot better. So it's one of those things where like we'll do whatever we need to win any way we have to. But I do think it has a lot to do with our preparation, our conditioning, the focus we've had on just continuing to play the right way and knowing that things will fall eventually, whether that's late in the third or in overtime. And yeah, just really proud of our effort throughout.
Last one is I think our focus collectively shifts when we go from talking about one game to a best of three series. So I guess my question is open-ended. Harvard wins this series over Princeton if.
If we win two games, I mean that's what it comes down to, right? I mean you can go 2-0, you can go 2-1, but you gotta win two, and um, you know you got to take it one at a time. It's one of those things where it can be a marathon, certainly. I mean, who doesn't love the best of three? I think it's awesome to go back to back against teams and potentially have to play a third game. Um, but it's really, in that same way, like one play, one period, one game, that's not what it's about. It's about getting it done 2 times, and it starts with the first game. So just really focused on that first game for us. I think it'd be huge to win that one and put them in a corner having to win two in a row. But even then, it's not over. You gotta win another. But I think for us, yeah, just staying focused. I think we win this series if we stay really focused in the moment on playing our style, competing really hard and responding well, whether we put one in or we give one up, having really good response shifts. I think that's, when we've done that consistently, we've been really, really good. So we want to get at them. I think just really focused on Friday's game to start.
I promise last one, this is just a follow-up to what you said. Um, so in a series like this, where you've already seen this team 2 times and you feel like you probably know them pretty well, how quick are you to make a change, respond based on what you're seeing ice level in the moment?
Yeah, probably. I mean, similar to throughout the year, there's an element of certainly trust with our players and our game plan, and you don't want to be too reactive to things. We also want to be ready and adaptable. So it just depends on how the game's going, how we're playing, how they're playing, what kind of the environment is like. But I think that's something we've had a good balance in terms of, consistency with things and sticking to our game plan, and then also being adaptable when we need to, like on Saturday with the line change. But that's just one small thing. You might make an adjustment on on your forecheck or how you're tracking back. And those are things that are happening all the time and things that I think our team has been really good at, just constantly learning, whether that's in game or during the week. And that's going to continue to be important for us. So it's a little bit, maybe not the best answer, but I do think it's a balance, and so much of it has to do with the feel of what the situation is. And yeah, really looking forward to getting there and playing.
Yeah, as are we. Really excited. This is what we all get up for, right? So
Absolutely.
excited to see you guys.
Yeah. Coach, if you don't mind, I just wanted to ask one more question.
Sure.
We talked about it a lot in January when we played in Friendship 4, Beanpot tournament, and you mentioned a lot during those times that this is a great experience to have come the postseason. Now that it's here, what are you going to take from those experiences and kind of how much does that experience play to this series this weekend?
Yeah, I think, you have that, yeah, like you said, the championship in Belfast, the Beanpot title game, and then even the playoff game last weekend, that can be helpful too, I think, for our group. Not a ton of experience in that kind of environment. So anytime you can play in it, I think part of it is just purely the experience of what it feels like. And a big part of it is knowing that you're not going to be perfect. I think, we've talked about this a lot, like we want to be playing great hockey right now, but probably the most important thing is to be us. We don't need markedly better game than we've ever played. We don't need somebody to play the best game they've ever. We don't need every single player to play the best game they've ever played in their whole life. And sometimes, you gotta have that experience to recognize that. I mean, last weekend, honestly don't think we loved the way we played against St. Lawrence, but we found a way to win. And sometimes that can be just as valuable to prove that, hey, we if you do enough, like if you can stay with it and continue to compete, and in Gel's case there at the end, continue to keep it simple and put pucks on net, that's actually really the best recipe in the playoffs. Be us, be ourselves, and don't expect that we need some outrageous type of play. We've done a lot of things to get us here, and it's just kind of staying the course on that. Obviously, the hockey's going to be good hockey. It's going to be tight. We want to play well. We want to be us as best we can. But I think, even last weekend sets us up to kind of take a step forward this Friday too.